Imagine a world where the sun is not a source of life, but a distant, forgotten myth. Imagine a place where the weight of the world above is so immense that it could crush a steel hull like a soda can. Here, in the crushing silence of the midwater, there is no floor to stand on and no surface to reach for. You are suspended in a liquid void, 1,000 meters beneath the waves, where the oxygen is so thin that most creatures would suffocate in seconds. But in this suffocating darkness, something moves. A flickering pulse of light reveals a shape, a silhouette of deep crimson, draped in a living, velvet shroud. This is the realm of the blood-red cloak entity. A creature that has haunted the dreams of mariners and the curiosity of scientists for over a century. Known to science as Vampire Squid or the Vampire Squid from Hell. It is neither a true squid nor an octopus. It is a ghost of the Jurassic. A phylogenetic relic that has survived for 200 million years in the one place on Earth where nothing else dared to go. The story of the blood-red cloak begins in a world far removed from our own. To understand why, we must travel back through the layers of time, past the rise and fall of empires, past the ice ages, to an era when the Earth was a greenhouse and dinosaurs ruled the land. While the ancestors of modern squids were evolving into fast-swimming predators and the first octopuses, the lineage of the Vampiromorphidae took a different path. They retreated. As the oceans became crowded with fierce predators, this ancient line descended into the oxygen minimum zone, a layer of the ocean so deprived of life-sustaining gas that it became a sanctuary through exclusion. By the time the asteroid struck the Yucatan Peninsula 66 million years ago, wiping the giants from the Earth, the blood-red cloak was already safe in its lightless bunker. It did not need the sun, it did not need the heat. It has remained virtually unchanged ever since. As we descend into its world, the blue of the surface fades into a bruised purple. The temperature drops to a bone-chilling 2 degrees Celsius. At these depths, the pressure is nearly 100 times. To a human, this environment is a nightmare of isolation. To the blood-red cloak, it is home. When the creature first appears in the beam of a deep-sea submersible's spotlight, the effect is hypnotic. Its skin is the color of dried blood, a dark, bruised red. That becomes invisible in the natural darkness because red light is the first wavelength to be absorbed by water. To any predator with eyes tuned to the blue and green spectrum of bioluminescence, the cloak is a hole in the universe, a moving patch of nothingness. The cloak itself is perhaps the most striking biological feature of any marine animal. It is a vast web of skin, stretching between 8 arms lined with fleshy, spine-like projections called eerie. When the creature feels threatened, it performs a maneuver that seems like something out of a horror film. It pulls its arms up over its head, turning itself inside out to reveal the black lining of its web. This is the pineapple pose. The soft eerie, which look like rows of menacing teeth, are splayed outward, creating the illusion of a spiked, impenetrable fortress. It is a masterful bluff, designed to convince any lurking predator that this gentle scavenger is a thorny nightmare. But look closer at its eyes. Proportionally, the blood-red cloak has the largest eyes of any animal on the planet. If a human had eyes of the same proportion, they would be the size of dinner plates. These globes, which can appear sapphire blue or fiery red, depending on the angle of the light, are not designed to see shapes or colors. They are designed to catch the faintest, most microscopic glimmers of bioluminescence. Despite its terrifying name and its demonic appearance, the blood-red cloak is a creature of profound peace. For decades, scientists believed this was a predator that used its cloak to trap prey, or even suck the fluids from other animals, much like its namesake. However, in 2012, researchers made a discovery that changed everything. By observing the creature in its natural habitat, they realized that the vampire from hell is actually a scavenger of ghosts. It does not hunt. Instead, it feeds on marine snow, a slow, continuous rain of organic detritus that falls from the sunlit world above. This snow is a mixture of dead plankton, fecal pellets, and the discarded mucus nets of other creatures. It is the waste of the ocean. and the blood-red cloak has evolved to be its ultimate recycler. To harvest this meager food source, the creature uses two unique thread-like sensory filaments that can extend up to 8 times the length of its body. These filaments are housed in special pockets. When it is time to feed, the cloak drifts motionless in the water, extending one of these long, invisible lines. Like a fisherman's silk thread, the filaments are covered in microscopic hairs and sensory nerves, allowing the creature to feel the touch of a single falling particle of marine snow. Once the thread is coated in debris, the cloak pulls it back through its arms, scraping the food into its mouth. It is an incredibly energy-efficient way to live, in a world where food is scarce. Living in the oxygen minimum zone requires biological miracles. Most cephalopods have high-speed metabolisms. They are the Ferraris of the ocean, burning fuel rapidly to maintain their intelligence and speed. The blood-red cloak is the opposite. It has the slowest metabolic rate of any known cephalopod. Its blood is not based on iron like ours, but on copper, containing a protein called hemocyanin that turns blue when oxygenated. This blue blood has been optimized over millions of years to bind to oxygen with incredible efficiency, allowing the creature to breathe in water, where a shark would pass out in minutes. Its body is gelatinous, with a density almost identical to the surrounding seawater, granting it neutral buoyancy. It does not need to swim to stay afloat. It simply exists, suspended in the dark like a crimson star. But do not mistake its slow pace for defenselessness. If the pineapple pose fails to deter a predator, the blood-red cloak has one final spectacular card to play. While its cousins, the squids and octopuses of the shallows, use ink. An ink cloud is useless in the pitch black of the deep. Instead, the cloak uses light. At the tips of its arms are complex light-producing organs called photophores. When attacked, it can eject a cloud of bioluminescent mucus into the water. This is not a simple flash. It is a sticky, glowing fog filled with thousands of tiny blue orbs of light that can shimmer for up to 10 minutes as the predator becomes confused by the swirling, glowing stars. The blood-red cloak douses its own lights and drifts away into the darkness, becoming invisible once more. The discovery of these behaviors was not easy. For much of human history, the blood-red cloak was known only from mangled specimens hauled up in deep-sea trawling nets. These specimens, crushed by the change in pressure, looked like lumps of black rot, leading early naturalists to give them their infernal name. It wasn't until the late 19th century, during the Valdivia expedition led by the German zoologist Carl Chun, that the creature was officially recognized. Chun was mesmerized by the specimen, noting its strange blend of features. He saw the 8 arms of an octopus, but the 2 filaments suggested a relation to the 10-armed squid. He realized he was looking at an evolutionary bridge, a living fossil that had seen the continents drift apart. In the modern era, the blood-red cloak has become a symbol of the mysteries that still remain in our oceans. Scientists today use hyperspectral imaging and low-light cameras to study the pulsing spiral patterns of its bioluminescence, suggesting that these creatures may use light to communicate with one another. Across the vast, empty reaches of the mid-water, we are beginning to understand that the deep ocean is not a desert, but a complex, interconnected web of life, where the blood-red cloak plays a vital role in the carbon cycle, transporting nutrients from the surface into the deep interior of the planet. Yet, even as we learn more, the sense of dread and wonder remains. There is something haunting about the way it moves, a rhythmic, pulsing motion of its fins that looks more like a bird in flight than a mollusk in water. To watch it is to feel the weight of deep time. It is a creature that has mastered the art of less. Less light, less oxygen, less food, less movement. In our human world of constant noise and consumption, the blood-red cloak stands as a silent witness to a different way of existing. It is the guardian of the shadow zone, a master of the velvet dark. As our submersible begins its long ascent back to the world of light, the image of the blood-red cloak lingers. We leave it there, in the cold and the dark, where it has lived for millions of years. It does not care for our names for it, nor our theories about its origins. It simply drifts, its long filaments reaching out into the falling snow of the abyss, waiting for the next microscopic gift from the world above. The deep sea remains the final frontier of our planet, a place where the rules of biology are rewritten, and the ghosts of the past still swim. The blood-red cloak entity is a reminder that we are newcomers to this earth. But if history is any guide, the cloak will endure. Long after our cities have crumbled, and our stories are forgotten, the vampire from hell will still be there. The mystery of the abyss is not just in what we find, but in what remains hidden. Every time we think we have mapped the world, a flicker of light in the darkness reminds us that there are depths we have yet to fathom. The blood-red cloak is more than just an animal. It is a testament to the resilience of life and the sheer, beautiful strangeness of the universe we call home.